Dempsey.
This poem is a new poem. It's straight off the press, as you can see, and it's called After the Row. I know none of you row with people. Julian, do you ever row with people?
No.
No. Julian is a really nice guy. I'm just after meeting now, and I can't imagine him having a row with anybody. So this is called After the Row. Built an overlarge snowman on your front doorstep and hid behind it. Rang your doorbell until you were annoyed by it. Yes, yes, you flung open the door to be confronted with the snowman telling you that he loved you, until slowly your heart began to melt. Thank you. And this is called Teaching Tilly Letters. This is how I used to teach my little girl how to do her letters. It turns out that Sir Thomas More used to do the same thing, but with real bows and arrows and stuff like that. And so it's called Teaching Tilly Letters. First, we set up an alphabet, all woodeny, all coloured-y. The letters tremble in anticipation. Then see, we get a P, or two, or more, or pile of peas now reflected in the living room floor. Then, pea shooter in hand, I command, hit me a hedge. Our little cheeks puff, and a hedge topples over. Ah, you got me, I ventriloquized. Okay, I say, now an I. Quick, R is trying to make a run for it. A P zips through the belly of an O, gets that meow. Oh, sorry, Marmaduke. O standing fast, always the last to go. P zing through time and space until letter by letter, both upper and lower case, the alphabet has fallen into her tiny mind. The letters tumble, held fast there with love and laughter. Now, if you're all sitting comfortably, I'll read you a nice little poem story. My friend Alan S. Johnson has the definitive version of this poem. I wrote the poem, sent it to him, and he put his own music to it and spoke it himself. So you're going to have to endure my alone and palely life-ring version, I'm afraid. It's called What the Cat Don't Want to Hear, the Cat Don't Hear. The chair liked the room it was living in. The day before, it was living in a shop, only one of many such chairs. Now it had a room of its own. Indeed, it was the only chair there. It even had its own desk, yet the desk was full of its own self-importance, and it only indulged in the usual polite conversation about how far or near one should be to it. The chair was rather proud of the cloud of unknowing that lay open upon it at page 144. The desk was profoundly jealous of it, whereas the chair actually took pleasure in the mere fact of its mistress's posterior. A mirror slightly to the side allowed the chair to look out upon a garden who talked continuously about the weather. A lawn ran down to a flint-faced wall, and beyond the wall's flint-facedness lived, so the chair believed, the world. The chair, even if it had to say so itself, and human voices agreed with its opinion, that it looked extremely elegant. The chair enjoyed being a chair. The only thing that irked was the cat, whose habit it was to doze upon it when the humans left the room. Shoo, shoo, the chair cried out in deep despair, but the cat either did not speak or pretended not to understand what was said to it. Now, my set is sort of death-oriented, I'm afraid, so you're just going to have to laugh about that. It's very funny to see your death coming towards you. I was coming back from a book fair in Belfast. We got as far as Dundalk, pulled up at a green light, and I looked to my left and I said, ha 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 ha, if that car doesn't stop, it'll crash into us. And not only did it not stop and keep its speed, it crashed through a red light, and I was the next thing that was going to happen to me. So this is called, and there was me without an eye. Time dawdles, stretches out the crash to an infinity of now. Casually, I watch the car crash into my side as if it were someone else's story. Car runs red light, the crash about to happen, taking its time. I watch my door buckle as if an invisible monster wanted to eat its way to me. Time finally stops. I fade to black, karate chop from luggage from the back. I drink up unconsciousness, thirsty for the oblivion it brings. The world leaves me now, even my thoughts don't know me. I am no more, a me without an eye. You knocked, death asked politely, no, just passing through. Life swims back to me from a distant horizon. Hey, shouts life, it's me. Do I know you? I ask. Thank you. It's called in the mythology of birds. The little bird somehow escapes the cat, but can't escape the death that beats beneath its feathers. Bloodied in my hands that hold it, I cradle it and cry. The bird imagining that when you die, a great God comes, takes you gently in its hands, and bathes you in its tears. A sunset staining a sky that is fading, fading, fading. It's called in the mythology of foxes, my second death. The fox's blood on the stone, still there 2 days after, staring at me. Only the day before, a daring raider of my uncle's henhouse, the talk of our household. But my uncle was patient and stalked the lonely hours until the fox came to meet her death, thinking only of her cubs and how big and bright the moons loomed tonight, and how the fearful thunder of the gun had ended everything, and how now, shot through the head, her carcass thrown behind a hedge, she finds herself still staring back into the mind of the little boy, even more aware of her presence now that nothing exists, and how forever after the boy carries her death, cradling it in his mind, trying to comfort her with his human tears. And then we finally get to me encountering death for myself. This is called leaving the church. I think I see what has happened. There's been a terrible mistake. And so I go to talk it out with him, to God. I tell him to rewind time, surely not such a big thing for a God to do, yes? And where my sister's death is, put her back here and me there. A straight, no-nonsense swap. A life for a life. And if there has to be a death, then I explain as best as I can, as if God's a little child, I'll die in her place. It all seems so simple. Deal? I can't see a problem. The problem is God acts as if he's not there. And although I've dealt with him fairly and squarely, he doesn't even deign to reply, and just leaves things as they are, as if he doesn't care. This is not how I want it. I curse him to hell, incandescent with rage, white-hot anger. Call yourself a God, a good God. I spit the words at him. Then I turn my 9-year-old self away from him. We don't speak ever, ever again. I leave the church. Dónall has left the building. This is called Flying into Forever. The geese flew on and out of my childhood, leaving me returning each new year to find that same moment when I was 9, seeing the geese now with different eyes, but somehow still that little boy seeing them for the first time, the geese flying on and out into forever. Snow has fallen, in love with the world, dressing everything in the same crisp white quiet. Icicles hang from the blue tricycle. A lost green glove creeps across the front yard. Soon my daughter, all 9 years of her, will awake to find the dream made real. A forgotten doll gazes up at me from the bottom of the frozen pond. I write you a Christmas card as I do each year. Sign it, love, as I always do, forgetting that you're dead. Thank you. And finally, to end with, it was my daughter's 3rd year of being herself, and we had invited 40 of our little peers over to celebrate this fact. They were going absolutely bananas in another room. I just let them play. And I thought, I'm going to have to go in there and stop this. This is getting out of control. And I approached the door, and just as I turned the knob of the door, silence fell like a chicata. Cut like that. And I was even more worried because the silence was more frightening than the noise. And then I thought, right, I better go in there and see what the silence is about. And I turned the knob of the door, and the door opened, hit me in the face, and I was stampeded by 40 little kids who basically said this haiku to me. It's called New Dog, Old Tricks, because she's got a little puppy for her. New dog, old tricks. The dog's in the loo! We was teaching him to pee! And he just fell in. Thank you.